Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the February 8th, 2024 meeting of the Penfield Planning Board. We'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Lori, would you please call the roll?
Hetzke.
Hetzke here.
Aken.
Aken here.
Burton.
Burton here.
Kanauer.
Kanauer here.
Tydings.
Tydings, aye.
Sangster.
Sangster here.
Weissar.
Weissar here.
O'Connor.
O'Connor here.
Prinzing.
Prinzing here.
Gray here.
Okay, we have meeting minutes from January 11th. Hopefully everyone's had an opportunity to review them. And can we entertain a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Hetzke.
Hetzke, aye.
Aken.
Aken, aye.
Burton.
Burton, aye.
Kanauer.
Kanauer, aye.
Tidings.
Tidings, aye. Mr. Chairman, I did have a chance to review them
Okay,
since I missed the last meeting.
great. Thank you. So those of you, tonight we have a work session typically between 6:30 and 7 o'clock where we handle our tabled items. And the public hearing portion of our meeting typically starts at 7. If we finish our tabled items and the work session agenda items prior to 7 o'clock, we'll move directly into the public hearing portion of the evening. And if the work session material takes longer than 7 o'clock, we'll stop and move right into the public hearing meeting. So just want to clarify that as a housekeeping matter. Doug, would you like to go through our tabled items?
Sure thing. So tabled application number 1 is 1676 Penfield Road, the Flower City Arcade expansion. We have received no new information from the applicant, so no action is necessary by the board tonight.
Okay,
Moving on to our second tabled application, 1345 Shoecraft Road, the Wellsbrook subdivision. Since our last meeting, at the last meeting, the board requested our landscape consultant Bruce to provide additional feedback, specifically relating to the tree inventory provided by the applicant. Bruce did return a memo to the board, which was provided to you as part of your drop. Likewise, one of the informational items that we were waiting on was the EECC, or the Energy and Environmental Conservation Committee, which is tasked with advisory review. Provided their memo. They approved that just ahead of the meeting. We did provide a draft copy to the board.
so essentially the approved memo is the same as the draft.
There was one change. The only change was to the cited documents. They just wanted to make sure that the site plans, and thus the landscape plan that they reviewed, was the December 8th one, not the one that was submitted more recently. But no change to their summary comments or
Okay.
observations.
Okay, thank you.
Likewise, the applicant, based on feedback from the board as well as Bruce's previous review, did provide a revised landscaping plan for the board's review.
All right.
So that revised landscaping plan addressed Bruce's comments?
Bruce's original comment, so it included additional buffering along the properties on State Road, a formality in the type of plants that were planted around the stormwater management facility, as well as planting around the entrance. The applicant did respond that they did as much as they could around the entrance, given how narrow it is. There's limited space to do any more plantings than what they'd already realistically provided or were providing.
So that was per his second memo then, including.
That was per his first memo. They did provide responses to comments on his second memo. but they have not, because we just got that back.
Yeah,
They have not
okay.
had an opportunity to provide revised plans.
So I know he did address some more buffering comments on it. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so, given this, Bob, are you overall comfortable?
Yeah, and there was one thought I had that I thought maybe I'd discuss with the board, and that is per the tree inventory where they categorize the class or desirability of the trees from a 1 to 4 on the document. I think it would, maybe we should look at saying that any of the ones, and I know some of them in the development can probably remain, the 1s and 2s, but those that are removed, we should consider saying that those be replaced 1 to 1.
So retain whatever the 1s and 2s are that can be retained,
Correct.
and if the 1s and 2s have to be taken down, replace them.
Correct.
With a new,
Yeah.
okay. Everybody-
And, going through the list, the 3s and 4s from the inventory, looks like, they're trees that are already dead or are in pretty bad shape. And then that would retain at least the count for trees on that site.
Okay, I think that is a good idea. And Kelly, thoughts?
I agree, yeah, absolutely.
Jim?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Terry, good. Okay. Okay, so, I know that we've started
Right.
a draft. Do we want to table it and just make sure that we got it all squared
Yep,
away?
and I can add the additional comments that were made here tonight. to
Okay.
it. So,
Okay,
table pending a
So
full
we'll-
draft resolution.
yeah, I'll move that we table that and continue to work work on the approval resolution as we discussed.
I'll second.
How about the EAF forms?
If you guys want to approve the EAF forms tonight,
We
there's
wanna
nothing
at
that
least take
requires
care of
them to
that.
Yeah,
do
we
it
can do
the
that,
same
so
night,
I'll
just we have
move
do
to
the
approve
seeker
the
before.
EAF
Why don't we
forms.
vote first, let's first vote on the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I lost my mind. Got out of order. We have a motion and a second
Right.
to table it.
Hetzke,
Hetzke, aye.
Aken,
Aken, aye.
Burton,
Burton, aye.
Kanauer,
Kanauer, aye.
Tydings.
Tydings, aye.
All right, now we can do
And
the
then I'll,
EAF.
yeah,
Yep.
move to approve for this project, the EAF.
I'll second.
Hetzke,
Hetzke, aye.
Aken,
Aken, aye.
Burton,
Burton, aye.
Kanauer,
Kanauer, aye.
Tydings.
Tydings, aye.
Okay. Moving on.
All right, our third table application is the sketch plan for 1918 Jackson Road, Stafford Park. So the board has completed a draft sketch letter based on the conversation at the January 11th public hearing.
Yep.
Okay. Has everybody had a chance to go through this, this draft letter from
I
planning
have,
department?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to,
Before you go, I just had one question. I just
Go.
want to make sure staff and engineering was okay with this, because I missed the last meeting, and I know there were some concerns, so if they're all set with it, before you make the motion, staff and engineering okay with this?
Yeah, I mean, we will probably, if the board chooses to approve it, they will submit, new final plans for us to review and, look at drainage and grading and all that good stuff. So, I mean, it's really in the board's hands on, there is some wet areas back there. We have had complaints with neighbors and drainage, so.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks,
just
Mike.
reminder for the audience, this is just a sketch plan.
Yeah.
Application.
Okay. You want to move to send the letter?
Yeah. Authorize the town staff to submit this letter to the applicant.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Hetzke,
Hetzke, aye.
Aken,
Aken, aye.
Burton,
Burton, aye.
Kanauer,
Kanauer, aye.
Tydings.
Tydings, aye.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. We have one new business item. 976, 978 State Road, the Siriani subdivision. So this is a revision to their previously submitted sketch plan application that we reviewed back in July. One of the conversation points was around revising the layout of the lots to minimize the impact to the woodlot EPOD. The applicants have provided a revised sketch looking at a reduced subdivision of 3 lots.
Okay.
That keeps it underneath the 10% disturbance
Okay.
requirement within the woodlot EPOD for no mitigation.
Okay. Did they want
Yeah.
to
John, did you
up for a
wanna
couple
do this?
minutes and give us a quick idea of what the changes are, what the plan is?
Good evening, planning board members, town staff, and citizens. My name is John Hotto of Land Tech Surveying and Engineering, Rochester, New York, representing Mr. Lou Siriani, home builder. We're here to discuss 978 State Road, a 3-lot subdivision. We've made some revisions that we feel are pretty positive for the community. We're presenting a 3-lot subdivision on the north side of State Road. Lot number 1 is going to be about an acre. That fronts right on State Road. Lot number 2 is 4.5 acres, and lot 3 is 3.89 acres. The challenge we've had with this site is there's an EPOD district for woodlands in the back portion of the site consisting of about 8.2 acres. The front of the site is not in the EPOD zone. The map information we got from the town is basically, the EPOD is from here back. And it's pretty clearly defined on this EPOD map. So what we're proposing is.
Excuse me 1 minute, please. Matt, can we get that on the screen for the
Yeah,
audience
so-
to
Yep.
see?
You have the brown layer here, that polygon here is showing the woodland EPOD.
Okay. Thank you.
So what we've come up with is a 3-lot plan, lot 1, lot 2, lot 3. These 2 houses in the back are situated such that we are within 600 foot of this existing fire hydrant. And we understand that this site, or this area, is covered by the Webster Fire District. And we received a letter from Mr. Andrew Borndran, the fire chief of this district, that this plan is adequate for fire access to the hydrant. And these 2 houses are set within that 600-foot distance. And this one is obviously close enough. But, so these houses are pretty much going there, which coincidentally works well with preserving 90% of the woodlot. We're about 8.5% disturbance in the back here of the woodlot. So we're leaving the majority of it untouched. And we understand that the maximum is 10% clearing, and we're at about 8.5, I mentioned. Sanitary sewer wise, there's an existing manhole up here on the street, but it's so shallow that we cannot really extend it. So we're having individual wastewater grinder pumps go to that manhole. And we discussed it with Mr. Mark Valentine, the town engineer, and he seemed to be okay with it at this stage. So that's where we're at. So all 3 of them will be pumped to that existing manhole there along the north side of
Okay.
State Road.
So the original sketch was for what, 5
Yeah.
lots? And so you've reduced it to 3?
Correct.
And the idea here with tonight is to potentially apply for preliminary final and not come back for another sketch on this, correct? Okay. Anybody? Yeah, I don't, I mean, all the details, those will be handled in the preliminary final, reviewed by engineering department and the project review committee. So, anybody have any?
I had one question, Mike. Those have to be sprinklered, the 2 houses with the 400-foot plus?
That would be, I think so, yes.
Okay.
So residential code is 600 feet.
Is it 600?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I needed clarification.
Yeah, that's why he went to
Okay.
the fire marshal in Webster to verify that.
Well, he was talking distance to the hydrant.
That's the criteria that triggers sprinklers in excess of 600 feet.
From a hydrant? Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. It's less than what you were looking for before. And the staying out of the woodland EPOD is a positive thing.
Would the board like us to send like a revised sketch letter, just
Yeah,
stating
yeah,
as
we
much?
can-
And provide that and an invitation to apply for preliminary final?
Yeah, we'll get a revised sketch letter off
That'd be
to you
great.
guys.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do we have any other
Nope, we're down to just the public hearings.
You want to vote
Oh.
on the,
sketch
send in
letter?
the letter?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Somebody want to move to send a sketch?
So moved.
I'll second.
Hetzke,
Hetzke, aye.
Aken,
Aken, aye.
Burton,
Burton, aye.
Kanauer,
Kanauer, aye.
Tydings.
Tydings, aye.
Okay. Like I said at the beginning of the meeting, if we get done with all our work session business, we'll move right into the public hearing portion of the evening. We have finished all our work session items, so therefore, we'll move right into the public hearing portion of the evening. We have 2 items on tonight's agenda. One is a sketch plan. A sketch plan in the town of Penfield is a presentation by a developer or an applicant for a concept for a project. As such, there's not as much detail typically presented. There's a lot of, I guess I'm going to say vagaries, some vague information, so it won't be all the engineering calculations that are required by the town for an actual preliminary final application. The idea of the sketch is to get feedback from the board and from the public for the concept for the development, the proposed development. The way the process works here, the applicant will come up to one of these 2 tables, grab a chair, speak into the microphone, introduce themselves with their name and address for the record, and then present what their project is. The board members will ask questions, and then one of the big reasons why we're here is to open it up for audience participation and feedback from the community at large. If you're here, that's terrific. If you're one of the millions of folks watching around the planet on any of the dozens of streaming services that Penfield has, you can, if you're here, raise your hand. Once we open it up to public participation, I'll call you up. Come up to the table that's empty, and then introduce yourself, give your name and address for the record. If you're not here and you want to make a comment, you can call at 585-340-8771, And at the appropriate time, you'll get patched in and you can make your comment over the phone. Or alternatively, if you go online on the Penfield website, that's penfield.org, there should be a link to this meeting and you can submit your comments electronically. With that, Doug, please read our sketch plan application.
All right. Sketch plan application 1, Costitch Engineering, 217 Lake Avenue, Rochester, New York, 14608. On behalf of HB Cornerstone, requesting an informal discussion before the board with plans for a proposed expansion, including 10,000 square feet building addition for an early learning center with associated parking lot expansion and other site improvements on the 50.83 acres located at 1835 Fairport 9 Mile Point Road. The properties now are formerly owned by Eastside Family Branch YMCA and zone mixed use. Application number 24P-0002, SBLs 125.01-1-34.12 and 34.13.
Mr. Chairman, I will be recusing myself from this application.
Okay. Let the record show that member Burton is recusing himself from this application.
Right.
Okay,
Make sure
thanks
this
for
is on.
coming. Do you have a computer, or are you having Matt drive the bus, or how?
I believe it's just going to go through the package that we submitted
Okay,
previously. Good evening.
Hold
I'm
on
Matt
real quick.
Emmons.
Wesley, the big TV is only displaying the planning board meeting title card.
What would you like to display?
The
live feed.
the live feed that we have on the screens below. That way the audience can see what we're discussing. Thank you.
I can't even see those TVs.
I can just see the TV. It's right on access, but since there's folks in the audience, I want them to be able to see what. There we go. Thank you.
Is that TV over there? that you're
Yes.
talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah,
Okay.
the one that
And this
faces
one?
the audience. I
That's up
can't
to-
see that one, but
This
I
one?
can
Sounds
see
good.
the large one that's facing the audience.
Okay.
And it wasn't
Everybody can
displaying.
see?
There you go.
Okay.
Might help to start with the zoomed out aerial image, just for context.
All right.
All right. Good evening. I'm Matt Emmons from HB Cornerstone, 99 Garnsey Road, Pittsford, New York, 14534. We're here this evening representing the YMCA of Greater Rochester for this project. I'll introduce the team members we have with us tonight. Up front here with me, I have Alex Amering from Costitch Engineering. Out in the crowd, we also have Colleen Fetter from the YMCA. She's the operations director. And we also have Rod Buffington from my team. So first, we'd just like to kind of start out, give a little history on the project, what this project's about, the Early Learning Center. So the main building, and I'll also talk a little bit about the property, and then we'll let Alex get into the engineering portion of it. So as you guys know, the site, original site plan approval was back in 2005. That was when the original Y was built. Then the Y and team were back here in 2014 for an approximately 20,000 square foot addition that was onto the rear of the building, which would be drawing left in this. You can see in the rear. That was for the wellness partner. They received preliminary and final site plan approval for that, and then also a conditional use permit for that use in that district. And then as we talked about, we'll talk about it here probably a little bit later on. As we know, it's in the MUD now that zoning has changed. Since then. A little bit about the project itself and the idea of the child care facility and how the YMCA operates those. The main reason this came up is because they currently operate this at this, what do I want to say? They operate this at the Fairport Baptist Home
So
off-site.
just so that everybody knows, what you're proposing is you'd like to put a childcare facility.
Yeah, sorry, so the addition is, the addition that we're gonna talk about tonight is for that child care facility. Thank you. And the point is that they currently operate that down the road at the Fairport Baptist Home. However, what's happened is that they have declared bankruptcy, so that lease is in jeopardy and there's a risk there. So the YMCA is over the last year and a half, taken a look at how do they mitigate that risk. And as you know, or some of you may know in the news and from other things happening with the Y over the last few years, the YMCA of the Greater Rochester has successfully constructed 2 full YMCA facilities that provide on-site licensed childcare. So the overall plan is to get that element into this East Side YMCA. Let's see, a couple other points to make. It's just a few interesting facts. It's one of the only programs, or it is the only program that went interrupted during COVID. We talked about the approximate 10,000 square foot, 1-story addition that would serve between 76 and 126 kids. As we talked about this being a sketch plan, we're also obviously in schematic design architecturally, so we haven't worked through all those things, a number of classrooms. At a minimum, they need to take the displaced children and the child care facility from Fairport Baptist Home and place it here, but then also looking at the growth, because they do have a large waiting list at this time. I think those were the high points I wanted to hit, so I'll just turn it over to Alex.
Good evening, Alex Amering, Costage Engineering, offices at 217 Lake Ave, Rochester, New York. Our firm was engaged for civil site services in roughly November of last year, around the time Matt and his team met with the PRC. Pretty quickly, we got out there, did some updated survey, got the sketch plan turned in December, obviously leading us to the meeting here tonight. At the point we were brought on board, I'll go ahead and mention DJC Architecture is the architect on the project. They established the footprint. With any of these integrated child care facilities at the YMCA, one of the main focuses is having identifiable entrances for the different components. That means the YMCA has their own entrance, the medical space has their own entrance, and then the daycare will have their own entrance. Obviously, that kind of played into where the building addition would be sited and connect to the building. Next step, we started to look at the parking. Obviously, there is an additional parking generation. It is relatively small compared to the medical partner and the YMCA. The plan before you, the parking numbers were done based on the off-street parking code. We do understand the MUD code is a bit more progressive in identifying shared uses, peaks that might offset each other, that kind of thing. I think in the future, for the full site plan submission, we would likely show some banked parking, because what the current code requirement is, we believe, is a little higher than what they've experienced at their other facilities. And obviously, we have the benefit of, kind of using those as case studies for what we're doing here. So, beyond that, again, being in the concept phase, we did a bunch of due diligence looking at stormwater. We will have to replace an infiltration trench, which was installed as part of the medical partner project. We will have some additional stormwater we'll have to do as part of our project. Obviously, being in the Rondequoit Creek watershed, the town requirements, the DEC requirements, all that. There are some private utilities on the site. None of the utilities that will be impacted, I believe, are public, but they will have to obviously be incorporated into the full design of the project. Since the sketch plan application was made, we did receive PRC comments. I think primarily from the engineering department, in an effort to make it quick. I'll kind of summarize those. The stormwater was brought up. There is an existing pond in the rear that has capacity to treat both the water quality volume, channel protection volume. And then we'll be incorporating new green infrastructure practices, likely around the parking areas, some sort of bioretention, rain gardens, infiltration trench, that type of thing. There was a comment about parking. I already kind of covered that a little bit. We've done a more detailed analysis than what we believe, the code currently requires. We were made aware of landscape lighting, existing buffering features, full engineers reports, obviously, when we come forward and hopefully submit in March for full site plan, that would all be included for the board and town staff. There was one comment on two-way versus one-way drive aisles. We'll clarify that in future submissions. And then lastly, we did receive the Monroe County referral. The comments were all, I would say, very, very boilerplate. One item the board might be of interest, if it moves forward with seeker. New York State DOT did say they expected some sort of traffic study as part of this. HB Cornerstone has retained David Crucy and Amy Dake, who have done quite a bit of the work in this area, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
and I
set?
think the only other drawings are in that set, or there is a schematic floor plan that we submitted that kind of shows it. Pretty simple program architecturally for the different age groups, infant rooms, preschool, toddler, some support spaces. Pretty compact layout, actually. Once again, as I said at the beginning of the presentation, the Y has the historical data now on, building these over the last 5 years in 2 different locations, the Shotland Y in Pittsford, and then now at the Sands Y in Canandaigua, to really tighten that program up and obviously hit by New York State law for the preschool and the toddler rooms for daycare centers to be able to hit those square footages based on the amount of children in the room. And then you'll see the exterior elevations, which are fairly schematic in nature also, but once again, 1-story building connecting to the existing building. It would be materials of the same, the same architectural aesthetic, so it would be a brick and glazing to match and complement the existing facility.
So essentially, that was gonna be one of my questions, was making sure that materials, what the building is made out of, they match.
Yeah,
The
the
existing,
easiest answer is
I
yes,
realize
they're gonna match.
a lot of time
Will
was
the
spent
brick be
on that.
exact, but yeah, we'll probably do some color sampling and match against them, and obviously when we come in for preliminary and final, we would be bringing in material samples and have renderings and whatever we need for that portion of the application, but that's the intent, right, to make it look like one, contiguous facility,
Right.
so.
Okay. Okay. Ready for questions, or
Yep,
you
I think
still
we're
have
good.
more to present?
No, I think we're good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. How many children are currently at the Fairport Baptist Home?
I believe it's the 76 that we're shooting for, correct? Yep.
You were thinking about, I thought I heard 100 and,
Yeah, so during schematic design, that's one of the things they're kind of looking at too, is so the 76, which is what we said in the 10,000-ish square feet, plus the connector portion of the building and the floor plan that we submitted back in December, would represent the 76, around 76 children. So we have had some conversations with a client about potentially making the building slightly longer to add one of each of those different types of
longer,
classrooms.
which direction,
Sorry,
east, west, or
drawing
north, south?
page right, which would be towards 250.
I see. So there'd
So
be
you see
a
that
more of
corridor
an
getting
L
extended?
shape?
Yeah, yeah, all it really does is accentuate the L even more. So the corridor would continue down, there'd be 2 more rooms. As you can see, they kind of get, one of the efficiencies we get there with the back-to-back is it's a shared toilet room. So you'd stack another 2 rooms down the width of those, and then you'd also get
Is-
more infant rooms.
Isn't there loading, what's back there now?
Yeah,
Is
so
that
it's
loading
actually a
dock?
loading area, it's actually
Okay.
not a dock, which is one of the things that keeps throwing us off. If you go back to the aerial, you can kind of see, if you zoom way in on that front corner, please.
I probably could outline that a little better. So there's a refuse area, which you'll see kind of in the middle of the road today. I think it's primarily employee parking back there today
It
that
is.
we would be offsetting. And then the medical partner space kind of aligns on the west side of the building where you see that sidewalk that kind of leads into the main entrance. So again, when they cited this building here, it's essentially outside the gymnasium, right?
Correct.
Obviously, the ingress, egress item and how the buildings connect was important, and that's kind of how we arrived at that location. So those,
So entry into this section would be only exterior, or would it be
Correct.
interior and exterior?
So there is a
Because
staff
the
connection in the
gyms are
back,
right
they'll be
there, right?
restricted, because once again, back to it's a day, a licensed daycare facility, they have to have certain protocols in place. But there would be the ability to, take the children out and then in, through the corridor with the teachers, in the staff into the gymnasiums. So they would still be able to move
Okay, so
between the buildings.
right there where Matt has the hand.
You got it, yeah.
Is
The
door
double
into
doors
the
into that gym.
existing, not the new gym, but that's the original gym, correct?
Yes, that's correct, yep.
then the double doors to the east, again, it's for deliveries. There's mechanical space, that type of thing, and that's, if the building grows, which we anticipate it will, that would kind of be the constraining factor on the east end there.
Have you looked at, and forgive me, I can't remember the exact part of the code, but we have some specific requirements for daycare facilities here in Penfield. I'm not sure if you've taken a look at those
We
or
we
not.
did refer to that section before, and I think that was where we were calking the parking off of before, but I don't know if there was anything else specific that we captured in any of our original meeting or anything that we saw.
Yeah, there is a provision, I think it deals with a conditional,
Yeah, it's
Use
13.10, yep.
and is it limited in square feet? That's my recollection. Because
Yeah.
I
Yes.
want to say,
8,000,
yeah, so variance might be required.
possibly. Something
And the question
to,
is whether or not that would, I don't know if that applies in the MUD or not. I'd have to look at
Childcare
the code.
facilities are still considered conditionally permitted non-residential use within the MUD district, so it may require an additional variance.
Okay. So in that section, want to repeat that
So
again for them?
the MUD is 5.12, the conditional factors are 13.10
For daycares?
for daycares,
Yeah.
or we call them childcare
Okay,
facilities within the code, but yeah, so it'll be 250-13.10.
okay.
I think we were aware of I know we were aware that we were gonna have to apply for the conditional use permit based on the use, but the square footage is news tonight, but we'll look at that and
Okay.
understand what we need to do there.
You'd mentioned drainage, and Matt, could you go back to the aerial view? Update, or just clarify, is everything drains to the southwest there, to that big pond? At
Correct.
the bottom of the screen?
Some of it's overland using drainage swales, some of it's piped. We have been in early discussions with Mark Valentine, who provided the copy of the SWIP for the project to the north, because I believe there was an agreement reached where they sent some of their water to the pond also.
Correct.
Which was kind of important to make sure we're off on the right foot with our calculations, so.
Sorry, I want to chime in real quick. I apologize. The minimum or maximum size was repealed by the town board back in 2021. I
Okay.
apologize. I'm looking at an older version of the
Good.
code. Sorry. No,
Glad I-
the cur- the
News for you.
current, the current requirement is as long as it meets, New York State, OCFS requirements.
Okay.
Did I miss something? That's right.
Any other questions from the board? I may have more, but
Yeah, excuse me. The kids would all be preschool, is that correct?
No, there's different age groups. So there are infants, preschool, and toddlers, right?
So would there be kids of age that would be like after-school program? Because I'm thinking of,
We don't do that. Yeah, that's not part of their program, no.
okay, so you wouldn't have any school district buses doing any drop-offs or anything?
No.
Will the facility have a small bus for the, okay,
No, they don't do any busing.
okay.
What about the child safety with the pond in the back there? Any,
Yeah, I mean, my experience in my profession with daycares is they're pretty locked down, right? So they're always going to be, so there will be, you'll see when we come back for preliminary and final, there'll be play areas outside. That there'll be doors leading out to those areas. Those are fenced-in playground areas, right? So they're always going to be monitored
to keep the children
with the
away from
staff.
pond?
Yeah, yep.
And the peak hours for daycare, is that like, was it like in the morning primarily, then like noon, let them get out? Or
It's through the day, but it's a rolling drop-off, so the drop-off is between 7 and 9, and I don't know what the pickup is, if it's 4 to 6.
And that'll probably be in the traffic study,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
right? To
Yep.
give us a good indication of those peak hours and things of that nature.
Yeah, you got it.
Landscaping, gonna take care of lighting. Take care of, I think,
yeah, question. I know back in 2005, the lighting, both mostly outside the parking lot, there was a lot of attention paid to that, and the specific types of luminaires. They were more of an architectural grade, decorative luminaire that kind of matched and complemented the architecture of the building.
Yep.
And I noticed that recently, there was an upgrade done that, to LED from metal halide.
Gotcha.
And those fixtures are now gone and they're basic, kind of non-architectural.
Not architectural?
So all that work,
Sure. Yeah, I do remember seeing one of the ones you're talking about when we did a survey on site a few weeks ago, and a site visit. But we can obviously talk to the Y about that, and that may just be a facilities, thing where they said, hey, we should put LEDs up. But we'll talk about that with them. And I think our intent would be to keep the aesthetic of the site, right, and the things that were originally planned for. And obviously, we can look at, dark sky compliant LED, energy efficient.
yeah, I'm sure the
Provide some solutions.
current ones are probably dark sky compliant.
Yeah, yep.
But they're not, just like there always have been with every other technology, all sorts of grades and styles of luminaires,
Right.
and there still are with LED.
Yep.
And it seems a decision was made to go with something that was not as I'm going to say architecturally significant or whatever is
Yeah,
as what was
aesthetically
there before.
pleasing. Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, we'll take a look at that.
Okay.
I thought of one more question. The signage, you guys gonna need any additional signage?
It would be wayfinding, site wayfinding, I think is the only thing.
Because I know that was a
Directional
point of
wayfinding.
discussion in the past. I know,
Yep.
once you guys got in, they changed it, and then they had the door signage and the building signage, so.
Yeah, no, right now, the only thing we've discussed would be wayfinding on the site to get people to the right location. And then, once again, it's a learned thing. It's gonna be Monday through Friday, they're dropping them off at the same spot, so.
Okay.
We teach them a few times, hopefully they remember it.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Does the board entertain doing a signage as a separate approval, or you do that all as part of the site plan?
We typically do it all as part of the site plan
Yeah.
approval.
Okay.
Kelly, any questions?
Yeah, so right there with the new proposed parking, there are soccer fields and such back in that area, correct?
The play area in the back wouldn't be disturbed. This, like Alex alluded to, this is an older drawing. There's some gardens at the north end there on the upper left area. That we're talking about now, that would be probably some of the bank parking, because we don't want to displace those. There are play fields, that large green space you see, it's a drawing lower right, that's really been left open for different types of play, soccer. That's also the intent going forward, is you can see where we pulled that drive down in Alex's drawing, where we want to keep that, the Y wants to keep that green space for a play area.
Okay.
So, yeah, trying to
Okay.
keep as much of that as we can.
And some questions about the program itself. So what will the provider to child ratio be?
The exact numbers I don't know, but that's a New York State requirement. So once again, I unfortunately don't know the answer to that. We can get that when we come back. But what they, by New York State law, just like a building code situation, they literally have it laid out, so you have to have X amount of square feet per child in those rooms. So if you look at that architectural drawing that was in the packet, you'll see it has a literal 784 square feet in a room, right? So they do that math, and that's 25 kids, and in a preschool, in an infant room, the ratio is more intense. It might be 3 to 25, and it's 2 to 25 in a preschool. But we can have that information when we come back.
And cost for families, depending on if infant, preschool, et cetera, that would be helpful for people to know also what that looks like. And is it can families use it half day, or is it all just full day? That kind of a thing also would be helpful for families to know.
Okay.
All right, any other
And
questions?
one more. Is
from the
there an
board?
outdoor play area?
Yes, in that green space, there'll be a fenced-in area with a playground that you'll see when we come back.
Okay.
No, it's been added since we submitted, but they'll be right off at the south facade there, so they can access them directly from the building, and there'll be fencing, like Matt was saying, so
Okay.
it's a somewhat controlled environment. There will be quite a bit of green space between the access road and the playground for additional programming, I would say.
Yep.
You had mentioned the other two facilities, Pittsburgh and what other location?
Canandaigua. Wow.
Are they both at capacity right now?
Yeah, I believe, probably waiting list, too, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Any other questions? All right, I would like to open it up for public participation. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to this or about this sketch plan application? And as a reminder, if you're not here and you would like to call in, it's 585-340-8771. And alternatively, you can submit a question electronically or a comment electronically. We do have an electronic comment from Aaron Roy at 9 Jomanda Way regarding the sketch plan at the East Side YMCA. And the comment is, "Hello, Board. I have made my concerns regarding the proposal at 1345 Shoecraft." So wait a minute. This is, this is not to do with the YMCA, so. That's a comment for another application. So, going once, going twice, any other comments for the sketch for the Y? All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Nice presentation. And what we will do is we will issue a letter with comments and take that and incorporate that into your application.
Okay, great, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming. All right, Doug. Our second application, and we'll welcome Vice Chairman Burton back to the dais.
All right, our second application, Green Land Surveying, PLLC, 403 East Miller Street, Newark, New York, 14513. On behalf of Mitchell and Carol Milton, request under Chapter 250, Article 11-11.2 and Article 12-12.2 of the Code of the Town of Penfield for preliminary and final subdivision and site plan approval for a two-lot subdivision with site plan approval for a new single-family residence on Lot 2 with access to Meadows End on 1.383 acres located at 1205 5 Mile Line Road, Webster, New York, 14580. The property is now or formerly owned by Mitchell and Carol Milton and zoned single-family residential R120. Application number 24P-0003, SBL 094.01-1-28.
Okay, come on up. Do we have someone representing this application?
Hello, how you guys doing tonight?
Living the dream.
My
How are
name's Good, thank you. My name's Kevin Tong. I'm with Greenland Surveying, 403 East Miller Street, Newark, New York. Here we have Carol Milton, the applicant. So what we have here is, as you guys said, it's a 1.8 acre piece, and we're just proposing to split off about 0.8 acres on one side on Meadows End for a future building lot. There is an existing house currently on 5 Mile Line Road, as shown, and there is a little bit of trees and brush there at the north end of the, oh, technically it's actually in the middle of the lot there, but there's gonna be a few trees taken down there, and just to open it up a little bit for some side yard. And, yeah.
So this is at the north end of town, north of Plank Road?
Yeah.
Right across from Waterson. Across the street.
Okay.
And then one of the things actually is rather than continuing the subdivision, the back line right up through the middle there, we're proposing that the shared line between the two new lots to be a little bit west of that, just to follow the natural swell up through there, rather than, like I said, continuing up through the middle of that line there, or the boundary line.
Okay.
So you'll notice that.
Sewers and utilities and everything available off Meadows End?
Yep. Yep, we show proposed tie-ins to both with the cleanouts and the curb stop. And then the drainage is just to follow kind of the natural drainage patterns as it is right now, as this will have minimal impact. Obviously, it'll follow that swale through there. There is a catch basin on the south end of that swale there. And then whatever's on the roadside can also just drain back out to the gutters and into those catch basins as well.
Okay. Kelly?
So just for clarification, the entry is going to be off of Meadows End, and the house is going to be facing Meadows End.
Correct.
So
Yep.
it's just essentially another house on the Meadows End.
Correct.
Okay. And it doesn't look like from this plan that there's going to be any disturbances with trees or anything like that?
Nope, as of, just for the plans, we weren't proposing any, but, Carol here just told me that there was going to be a few trees that were gonna be taken down, just to clear up a little bit of that space here. She did provide me with some pictures I can bring up to you guys.
Healthy or not healthy trees, or?
Some of them are unhealthy, like either leaning, and we just figured we bring them up just because they are a little bit bigger, about, 8 or 9 inches up to 11 inches. Some of them have the tops of them rotting off, and some of them are leaning completely, so, just to kind of clean it up and make it look nice. It's mostly poplar in that area, but a few of these trees, I think there's only one maple tree that it's a 6-inch maple that's gonna be taken down. But otherwise, the rest of them just are kind of a few birch and stuff like that that are just rotting and stuff, so.
Popular.
Sorry,
No bird.
I just saw the white bark and I assumed.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
No?
I had, what's the zoning? Is it 20,000 square feet?
Yes. Yeah, so it's R120.
Okay. And on the one, I don't see it on what we got, on the new proposed lot, on the site plan drawing, there was a round feature in the backyard, and I,
That's their topsoil stockpile location when they strip the topsoil
Oh,
to build the
okay.
house. That's just showing where they're proposing to put it.
okay, I couldn't read it from.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
You thought it was a helicopter pad.
yeah,
Possibly.
that was it.
Kidding. Any other questions from the board?
I just like clarification on the, how the house is going to be situated on the lot. So is it fair to say that the depiction of the house in the plan that you submitted with this application is not what the owner intends to do?
No, this is what they intend to do. This is
Okay,
where the
'cause-
house will be.
Okay, so the tree line that you have outlined here on the plan does not appear to be disturbed.
Correct. I was thinking of disturbances and ground disturbance. That's
Just this.
I got you, okay. We can include that in the area of disturbance, just for the little, we can go out there and locate those trees, the ones that are being intended to be taken down, and we can show that included in within the area of
Yeah,
disturbance.
I mean, of all the questions we get for applications, that's probably one of the more popular is.
Right.
How many trees are being removed and.
Right.
If they're being removed, are they being replaced? And, are buffers that, neighbors currently enjoy being taken away and things of that
Right.
nature, so.
Exactly. And I know with those trees being taken away, we do also, it's not in that same area, but on the street side, we did propose 2 decorative street trees as well.
Now, that's part of the town codes.
Gotcha, okay.
It's a small portion of the wooded area. It's just the trees are leaning, and if they fall over all the way, we don't want them to land on the house.
Just for the record, do you mind introducing yourself?
Oh, yes, Carol Milton, 1205 5 Mile Line Road.
Thank you.
But yes, we'll make a note to include that. Like I said, we'll locate those trees and we'll make sure that that's included with the area of disturbance, so.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? All right, I would like to open it up to the audience. If there's anyone in the auditorium that would like to comment on this application. Yes, sir, come on up, sir. I know it's, no, if you could come up and introduce yourself and name and address, social security number, credit cards, all that stuff for the record. Again, just kidding. We do need your name and address though.
Larry Sharada, 72 Lancer Place, Webster. I was just wondering if there's going to be 2 lots on
Meadows?
Meadows End, or just 1 lot?
So the one whole lot right now fronts on both 5 Mile Line Road and Meadows End, just splitting it right down the middle, so one lot's gonna be facing Meadows End and one
Okay.
lot's gonna be facing 5 Mile
That's the
Line
only
Road.
question I had. I wasn't sure if there was going to be, I know the lot is wide enough, you can almost put two houses there. I wasn't sure if you're going 2 on Meadows End and then divide that from the house that's on 5 Mile Line, but
Right.
that's the only question I have.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else in the audience like to comment on this application? All right, again, if you are not here and would like to call in, you can call in at 585-340-8771, or alternatively, go on the Penfield website, penfield.org, and make a comment electronically. So, and those comments can be made and entered into the record even later. Okay, if there's no other questions from the board, thank you very much. Appreciate your presentation.
Thank you very much.
It's a fairly simple subdivision, and we will call this hearing closed.
Thank you very much.
So we have a draft approval for this in the draft.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, we completed the Part 2-3 EAF.
Are
It's a
there
simple
any-
subdivision.
I mean, this looks pretty straightforward.
Yes.
Yeah, everything's compliant with code.
Yeah, we might as well get this one taken care of for these folks tonight. So I don't know if you want to move to authorize me to sign the environmental assessment forms?
Move to have AJ sign the environmental assessment forms.
I'll second.
Jim beat you to it.
I know.
Hetzke,
Hetzke, aye.
Aken,
Aken, aye.
Burton,
Burton, aye.
Kanauer,
Kanauer, aye.
Tydings.
Tydings, aye.
All right, and then the application.
To move to approve the application.
I'll
Just
second.
motion to approve the application.
That's a Kanauer second. You got it in this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hetzke,
Hetzke, aye.
Aiken,
Aken, aye.
Burton,
Burton, aye.
Kanauer,
Kanauer, aye.
Tydings.
Tydings, aye.
Okay. Go build.
We'll submit those copies to you.
Okay. Sounds great. Have a great night. Do we have any other business? We should start preparing a sketch plan letter for the YMCA.
Yep.
Any initial comments from board members? I want to make sure that the architecture stays in keeping with the existing structure.
Yeah.
And then following whatever our childcare requirements are.
He did mention some.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
mandated.
I forgot about that too, but I do
completely
remember, I
blanked on
mean,
it as well. I'm like, I didn't think there was an
Yeah.
issue with it. I thought we had, yeah, but February 3rd, 2021, we amended that section of code. So there is, it now just relies on Office of Family Services, Child Care Division
okay, good.
requirements.
All right, so if we could, I'll move to start the sketch letter.
Okay.
We have a second?
Sure, I'll second.
Okay.
Hetzke,
Hetzke, aye.
Aiken,
Aken, aye.
Burton,
He's recused.
Kanauer,
Kanauer, aye.
Tydings.
Tydings, aye.
All right, no other business? We will adjourn. Have a great night, everyone.